In this video we're going to learn how to do this looped fringe where it's not chain stitches, that it's just loose loops. It all makes a lighter fringe than your chain looped fringe is. And we're going to use a method of broomstick crochet, except for instead of a dowel or a broomstick or a broomstick needle, I used a paper towel tube to make my fringes longer. And you can use strips of cardboard, you can use a ruler, you can use whatever thing that's the same width all the way across that you can wrap yarn around to do this stitch. Now I'm going to demonstrate with the sport weight yarn and on a broomstick needle. My broomstick needle is a size 35 in US or a 13 millimeter knitting needle. And this is kind of what you're doing. You're working with your crochet hook and this knitting needle at the same time. I'm going to take what I did out so you can see how I got started. And basically what you're doing is you're going to wrap your yarn around the needle before making a single crochet. So for your last row of your scarf, you're going to have a row of single crochets, and then you chain one and you turn your work. Okay, and then you get your broomstick needle. I have the point on my left side. This will work whatever way you feel comfortable. Okay, and then what I do is I pick up the needle, wrap around the back to the front like so. Okay, and then I insert my hook in the first single crochet, catch that yarn and draw it through. Now here your needle is making the size of your loop, so you don't want too loose or too tight, just like when you crochet. And then you yarn over and draw through two, and you make a single crochet. So you wrap around the back of your needle, back to front is how I do it. I think front to back will work. I don't know, this is how I do it. Okay, and then I'm using my middle finger on my left hand to help maneuver the yarn for this stitch. Draw up a loop, yarn over, draw through two. Then you wrap your yarn around the needle, insert your hook in the next single crochet, catch that yarn and draw it through, yarn over and draw through two. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see better. I know my hook's the same color as my yarn, which isn't the best thing to do. I'm using a K hook, where normally with this size yarn I would use an I or a G to an I hook, but just so you can see better what I'm doing, I'm using a bigger hook. Okay, and you can also insert your hook first, which might be easier. Then wrap your yarn around the back of the needle, catch it under that hook, draw the loop through, yarn over, draw through two. That actually might work a little easier. Insert the hook, take your yarn around the back of your needle, yarn over, and draw it through. Why is it blurry? And draw through two. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back out. I think that's part of my focus problem. I'm going to insert my hook in the next stitch, wrap your yarn around the needle, catch up the loop and draw it through, yarn over, draw through two for a single crochet. Insert the hook, wrap it around, catch up a loop, draw through two for a single crochet. And you do this all the way across, and you'll keep all your loops on the needle. I am going to pause it here and finish my row, and I'll show you how to do the very last one, and then we're going to go across to secure them. So pause the video now and do this all the way to the end of your row. I'll be right back. Okay, I've done this all the way across. I single crocheted in my last stitch. So we're going to do one more wrap around and draw it through like a slip stitch. and then we're going to chain 1 to secure it. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it around. Okay, and then we're going to hold the yarn, the working yarn, in the back and your hook in the front, and you're going to go in between the first 2 loops, catch up your yarn, draw it through, and slip stitch. And you want to go through the next 2. See, you're catching the yarn back in the back, pulling it through, and slip stitch. This will just secure it a little bit. And when you do this stitch, if you don't do this, the loops will be coming off the back of the scarf, and this kind of pushes them to the end. So this is how you do it. Let me show you one more time. Go between the next 2 loops, stick that hook there, catch your yarn, pull it up, and draw the first loop through the second one. And this is you're just slip stitching across is what you're doing. And this will secure it for you. I'm sorry about the scraping sound. It's rubbing against the top of the table. Usually I do this in my lap. I'll rest this end on my leg and work across it that way. It's a lot easier to control. But so I can get you on camera, I have to do it this way. So, going all the way across. Sorry about the shadows here. I got the light source behind me. I have one in front of me too. It's just that time of day. The light's coming in the window from the wrong angle. But this is a nice thing to do as a fringe for using yarn that frays. Like I said, I'm doing this with the homespun yarn because a viewer had asked advice on how to make a continuous loop fringe because the homespun yarn tends to fray. Okay, and then you won't go around, you want to do it one more time and make a chain stitch. And now you can slide your broomstick out. Now this is used yarn that I make, so my loops aren't going to be real straight. And then you can, if you want to secure it, you can make an extra chain stitch and draw in your tails. So this will be your looped fringe for a scarf. And if you want your fringes longer, use a bigger tube or a ruler or a piece of cardboard for that. And so that's how you make your looped fringe with using the broomstick method. Now, oh, you could also use a broomstick. What about that? So happy crocheting. Let me know how it goes. This one's a little tricky. So if you're not an experienced crocheter, you might give yourself a little time, take it slow, and work on it. Happy crocheting.